Episode 8, we're bringing more child predators to hate. First things first, I apologize. I'm bringing you into this, what has become a political themed thing when this is supposed to be a true crime podcast. But people always want to defend child predators by saying, well, that group has them too. You're a bigot for pointing them out over here.
It's insanity. They're literally everywhere, and we could record 24 hours straight and still not cover it all. Like, you people are fools for sitting here and talking shit to us and bashing us because we were talking about one specific group in an episode. If you don't know how a podcast works, that's on you, but when 2020's going and there are episodes about one specific thing, do you sit there and yell at the TV and say, there's murderers all across the world and you're only talking about this one? You sound dumb. You sound really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to actually listen to the podcast, hop off of social media and quit commenting on our shit.
That's the thing people love to resort to, is like that whole ad hominem thing, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically like, if I catch you stealing from me and I'm like, hey, you're a thief, stop stealing, and you're like, so bitch, you never stole before, that doesn't dismiss the fact that you're actively right now stealing.
Right, two wrongs don't make a right.
You can't try to attack me for calling out child groomers and child predators and call me a bigot. So here, I got a definition for you here. And this comes from the Oxford Languages Dictionary. A bigot is a noun, a person who is unreasonably attached to a belief, opinion, or faction, especially one who is prejudiced against or antagonistic toward a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group.
Mm-hmm.
What about me saying there are child sex predators in the trans community and most of these blind followers or quote trans advocates? What about that? Calling those people out for forcing their agenda and for abusing children. What about that makes me bigoted when I know this happens in other groups, but that's not what I was talking about last time.
Right, so we were staying on topic.
Which is hard for me. But in case you needed clarification, again, first of all, nobody's homophobic or transphobic. Gay and trans people don't scare anybody. Do you know what a phobia is? Find a different word. But if you think that we have some sort of prejudice against gay people, not at all.
Nope. We also said that several times, actually.
Yeah.
Me and you both have had the same gay friends. Like, what?
Yeah. So that's just a recap of how we feel. This whole trans movement isn't very helpful for trans people.
Correct.
You're not understanding that there are predators that are using this trans movement and doing evil, vile things, especially to children. That's like our whole emphasis here, under the guise of being trans or being all-inclusive.
I dare you to try and stop me from going into a women's bathroom. It will be the last mistake you ever make.
This is America, you know what I mean? Like, you're allowed to be different and say what you want to say. It doesn't make you a transphobe or a bigot. So, if you're a person who thinks that calling out child groomers is me being unreasonably attached to a belief or opinion toward a person that makes me prejudiced based off the group, you're drunk. You're a little bit slow. You need to listen to the podcast and learn how to think. You don't know how to think. You're thinking incorrectly.
I'll never stop being prejudiced against child predators, so...
Yeah. And here, if this comforts your minds in any way, one thing we know about pedophilia is that they don't have a gender preference. They have more of like an age bracket preference because they care about power and control. They don't care about it being a little boy or a little girl. I don't know if you've noticed that theme or if you even know anything about these people, but they don't care about your gender or your sex. They want to abuse a child, right? Because that's what they're attracted to. That is evil. That is vile. They're disgusting. They're not sentenced long enough, which we'll get into today. But real quick PSA, I have to take a break from doing anything with child victims for a few episodes because I cannot take it. It's taking a toll on me.
It's a very heavy topic, especially when you have kids.
It's been rough. So we're not doing those for a few episodes. So, here, real quick, since this is the episode called Ungodly Groomers, I thought I'd start off by saying a Bible verse. This is what the Bible says about child predators. If you need to know, when I say the words little ones, obviously that refers to the children.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew 18:6, if anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Woe to the world because of the things that cause people to stumble. Such things must come, but woe to the person through whom they come. If your hand or foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. Or your dick. No, it doesn't say that. But it is better for you to enter life maimed or crippled than to have 2 hands or 2 feet and be thrown into the eternal fire.
Mm.
And if your eyes cause you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
It is better for you to enter life with 1 eye than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into the fire of hell. See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. Long story short,
don't fuck with kids.
God's watching.
Yeah,
bitch.
it's real simple. Stay the fuck
Nope.
away from them if you have ill intentions.
Big dishonorable mentions here. Arizona Supreme Court ruled that the Mormon Church has the privilege to not report child sexual abuse when discovered.
Disgusting.
They're leaving it up to the powers of the church that be.
No.
That was recent. That was more recent than the first case that I'm going to get into after this next mention, but that's scary.
Yep, because how many people are going to convert to being Mormons?
We got to knuckle down here on these. You can just identify as some shit and get away with other shit. We're not doing that.
Right, can I identify as a lion and rip your fucking throat out?
Definitely. Arizona Supreme Court needs to get their shit together. I bet one of you freaky fuckers.
I didn't even know there was Mormons in Arizona.
They're all throughout the western states. So, real quick, Illinois Attorney General releases report concluding a multi-year investigation into child abuse by members of the Catholic clergy in Illinois. So, the report reveals names and information of over 400 Catholic clerics who abused nearly 2,000 children in Illinois. Death penalty.
Yeah.
We don't have the death penalty here in Illinois, but
I wish we did.
Even if we did, they don't lock these people up for that that long. So it would be for murderers and not
male child molesters. I'm about to get real graphic, guys, but I feel like male child molesters should just have their dick cut off and let them bleed to death.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I'm alright with that.
That wasn't too explicit.
I feel like that's not a very expensive death penalty either. You could use a rusty knife for all I care.
A rusty butter knife, yeah.
Absolutely. The duller the better.
Reasonable as fuck. Alright, so let's get into it. My fucking disappointment in Arizona.
Yeah, man, I was wanting to go try a vacation there. Not anymore.
So let's do child molesters in the church. And
ugh, they're all over in the goddamn church.
The reason before I start that I brought up the Illinois Attorney General thing is because when all these people on Twitter were calling me a bigot for exposing child groomers in the trans movement community, I don't even want to say the trans community because some of these people are not trans people. They're just using the trans movement to do their shit. Mm-hmm. So the reason I brought up the Illinois stuff is because I thought if you're an adult today, you know about the Catholic Church. We all know that those people are a little bit off in their beliefs. The males who lead, the Pope having boys suck his tongue and all weird shit. But further than that, all those people who give their body to Christ and they serve for the Lord, I don't know if it's not clear enough in the Bible, but for some reason, not having sex and marrying a woman doesn't exclude you getting your row off with little boys. Okay, another thing I learned is that there's something in the Mormon community, and I don't know if this applies to Catholics and shit, but it's called derfing.
The fuck is that?
Derfing means that it just means dry humping, the act of dry humping while making out. So we all know that the Bible says don't feed into the sins of the flesh, which includes lust and adultery, fornication. For some reason, Mormon people were like, yeah, if we keep our clothes on, it's not the flesh, it's clothes.
Oh,
so
God.
yeah. No. here we go with the Mormons. The reason I brought up the Catholic Church is because I thought we all knew about the Catholic Church child crimes, because that was literally national news at some point, which the Groomers in the last episode are not making national news. The world is trying to make us all be inclusive of these people. It's a no from us. Nobody's forcing us to go to church like you're forcing us to use your pronouns. It's she! Whatever. But anyway, so I just thought that all the people calling me a bigot on Twitter were like, the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church. I'm not Catholic. What I am is a Christian. A good, classy, conservative Christian woman.
But shut up.
Yeah. No, I don't really belong to either political party.
I just live my goddamn life and mind my own business.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You have freedom of religion. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. But again, like I said in the last few episodes, your rights stop when you victimize somebody else. Now you're crossing the line. People don't seem to understand that. I just wanted to say, there's your Catholic Church attention. I thought we all knew that about the Catholic people.
It's
I'm a
never going to
Christian.
change. We could do 25 episodes on the Catholic Church. It's never going to change. So,
Yeah.
why
And
do
real
people
quick-
feel like we need to dedicate an episode to them?
Yeah, well, I think that they don't. This is the whole thing. I think that people just watch news, the national news, and they don't really do their own research. And so they feel like it's this or that. I don't know how much more I can add to this to get people to see that it's not a matter of being gay or straight, atheist or religious. It doesn't matter. It does not matter, because they don't have a gender preference. They just want kids.
Right.
And we should all be uniting together to say, hands off, bitch. People don't seem to get it. So there's your Catholic Church attention. I'm a Christian, so if I'm part of this group, the Church of Latter-day Saints are some sort of stem from Christianity. Then I'm talking about a group I belong to. So does that make me a bigot?
No.
I think that excuses me from being a bigot. I hold these people to the same standard, and you should too. God or not, Bible or not, gay or not, preying on children is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you can come up with some finger-pointing argument to that statement and say, you only call it out on this side, or blah, 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 there's something wrong with you.
Agree.
So here we go. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
August 2022, Samuel Bateman got arrested in Colorado City, Arizona. Real quick backpedal to tell the story. Since 2019, Samuel tried to re-recruit the following of Warren Jeffs. And if you don't know who that is, go watch the documentary Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey.
Yep.
So Samuel tried to recruit the following of Warren Jeffs by telling them that he died in prison, which is not true, and that Samuel was his successor. He now calls his following the Samuelites.
Jesus Christ.
That is so self-absorbed. Okay, he had roughly 50 followers, and of them, 20 were women and girls that he took as his wives. Out of these 20 wives, 10 of them were minors. When one of these minors turned 18, she was helping bait, kidnap, and assault new minors as wives, so she's been charged too. One of these days, we need to do a compilation on these bitches that help the men violate the children, because
gross.
we always want to blame the man for sex crimes and scream words like patriarch, rapist, abuser, but we never call out the sinister women behind them who helped them in their acts,
Right.
because they exist, and they also exist on the left, because a lot of them bitches that are advocating for the trans movement are grooming their little boys. And for example, if your child is young and likes Baby Shark or Paw Patrol, like the woman would go buy all the pink shit for it, and it's a boy. And the boy didn't ask for pink shit, they just like that cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
That's you grooming your child.
Mm-hmm.
These bitches are just as guilty. 2019, Sammy said that he first felt prompted to make his teenage daughter his first wife. Like, his first child wife.
That's fucking gross.
Yeah, his wife at the time was like, whoa, bitch. Divorced them, fled the scene with the daughter. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
They still kept in contact, though. I don't like that. In May 2020, Samuel claimed his first child wife, who was not his own daughter, and she was 9 years old at that time.
Oh my god.
Mind you, he had already replaced his wife right after the divorce and had several adult wives. And when he married the 9-year-old, He called his teenage daughter that he originally wanted to marry his first child wife to rub it in her face and introduced this 9-year-old to his daughter as her new mom. Bitch!
It's fucking gross.
Triangulating ass baby daddy. I would have whooped his
Mm-hmm.
ass. I don't know why his ex wife even let him still call, but yeah. So for the next 2 years, he traveled across the state of Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Nebraska, and collected his wives, who were the daughters of his followers. He told the families to offer up their daughters or face harsh punishment. If the daughters were reluctant, he would rebuke them in a harsh way. He's big on punishment. The men who followed offered properties and Bentley cars to stay in his good graces. Like, bitch, Bentleys?
Yeah, what?
Where do I apply? But I'll let you keep your kids, though, because I'm not a pervert. I'm just saying. I just want the gifts. Anyway, if a male follower stayed in his good graces, Samuel would reward them with a night trade with one of his young wives. So all these freaky fuckers are the same
Mm-hmm.
in my mind.
Yep.
Adult group sex acts with these children occurred in all 4 states with a lot of these people. That's why they're labeled a polycult.
It's fucking gross.
Big Sam is currently locked up in Arizona with no bond, and the legal counsel that was on his case withdrew 4 days after the indictment was filed, so he has no legal representation now. If you're a defense attorney and you want to help this child preying monster, there's a job available for you. I'll judge you, but get your money, you know. So far, the trial is postponed to 2024, and he's pled guilty. Long story short, they were recording some of the group sex acts, and he's burnt toast. They got all that. I hope he never feels sunshine on his face again. Shame to Samuel Bateman, Warren Jeffs, and the rest of the Mormon community. You guys are sick and mentally ill and ungodly. All you bitches need to burn. Yep. In December 2017, Casey T. Nishimura was indicted by a grand jury in Honolulu, Hawaii for third-degree sexual assault involving 2 minor children between 2014 and 2017. Another 2 girls have lawyered up and said that this man sexually abused them at summer church camp during the periods of 2001 and 2007. The girls were 5 and 7 at the time. He was a volunteer at the Manoa Valley Church during this time, and the church issued a statement saying that they were unaware. The case is still awaiting trial. 6 years later, and he's free on bond. Shame on you, Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
I loved Hawaii.
So there are so many more cases that are recent even, but I had to stop because of my own mental space. But here are some more dishonorary mentions so you can do your own research, because I had to stop when I was making the list and reading all this. It was just overstimulating.
It's alarming just how much is out there right under our noses, and people just want to be blind to it. Yeah. Listen to your kids. Look at their body language. Pay attention when they come home from sports practice, from school, Bible camp, Bible study, whatever. Pay attention to them. If they seem off, sit down and talk to your kids. I mean, talking to your kids is so important anyways. You want to keep that connection with them, but kids are not just going to run in the door and be like, Mom, I got molested today. Like that. You have to actively be involved with your children's life. You have to know your kids well enough to know when something isn't right. You have to advocate for your children. If someone did something to your kid, you don't sweep it under the rug. I don't give a shit if it was someone in your family or whoever. We protect nobody. Absolutely nobody when it comes to our kids. If they said something happened, you fucking get to the bottom of it and you hold that person accountable in whatever way you have to.
Yeah. I just want to give my own example of that, because I feel like a lot of people are so big on not being their kids' friends and making them respect them and staying in a child's place, and they just learn to shut down by doing that, and they're scared to tell you. And they even learn in school, like, inappropriate touch from a young age and shit like that.
Yeah, but sometimes people in the school are still the ones doing it.
Yeah, that's very true. Teachers often. Yep. I just want to give my own example of that. So my son plays basketball. We had this coach who was like doing individual practices for him and stuff. And I was always there with the baby. I walked off with the baby for minutes. And in that time, the coach was like, you need to start doing squats because your butt's too big. What the fuck does that have to do with basketball coaching? Instantly, he never saw my kid again.
Also, squats are just going to make your butt bigger.
Yeah, it made me feel like you volunteer to coach teams, and he's not one of those volunteers where his kid's on the team. So
Yeah, I don't like that then.
yeah, sick. Yeah, so here's the dishonorary mentions, so you can do your own research. Bobby Smith in Las Vegas, Rob Shefflett, youth pastor who preyed on 14 girls in Denton, Texas, Connor Penny, Baptist youth pastor and teacher's aide in Mesquite, Texas, Stephen Bates, Michael Adam Davis, Peter Cooper, Jeffrey Bedwell. I could not go on with these child molesters. Ew. But the second category of people is people who possess or make child pornography in the church. Here we go. In August 2021, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children notified law enforcement of a cloud storage account that had uploaded child pornography. The account belonged to 31-year-old Jonathan High of Steinhatchee, Florida, who was a deacon at Antioch Revival Church. Amongst the thousands of videos and images in his cell phone and desktop collection, he had videos of prepubescent boys who attended his church using the bathroom.
That's fucking
He made
gross.
some of he made some of his content himself. In October 2022, he was found guilty on 2 counts of using a child to produce child porn and one count of possession of child pornography. He was sentenced to 22 years and will have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his loser-ass life. In 2022, November, 56-year-old pastor David Lloyd Walther was arrested on downloading and distributing child porn using BitTorrent, a peer-to-peer file sharing network. David was a pastor at Faith Baptist Church in Round Rock, Texas. 2 large computer hard drives were found during a search of his home and vehicle containing child pornography. His charges are distributing, receipt, transportation, and possession of child pornography. He's being investigated by the FBI, so he's going to federal court and only faces up to 20 years if convicted. In Texas, come on, Texas, I thought you guys were like
On top of shit.
the ones that don't play,
Yep.
you know? In April 2023, 45-year-old youth pastor and 6th grade elementary school teacher, Edward Wilds III of Putnam County, Florida, was arrested after using his church's Wi-Fi to download child pornography. Upon investigation, law enforcement discovered approximately 54,000 sexually explicit images of children. His preference, ages 14 to 16. His name was a sixth grade teacher.
This is exactly why parents have to be careful of what they even post online of their kids. Those cute bathtub pictures, your kid running around naked, people are looking for that shit. People are getting off on that shit. Like, you have to be careful.
So gross. They found more child pornography on his personal devices after they obtained a search warrant for his home. Middleton Burney Elementary has placed him on administrative leave.
Christ.
Palatka Baptist Temple has not released a statement on these allegations because his dad, Ed Wilds, is their lead pastor. He's being charged with downloading and distribution of child pornography, and he's posted $20,000 bond, and he's free. What the fuck, DeSantis?
So fucking gross.
It's election year. You ain't paying attention? I thought Florida didn't fuck around. In May of 2021, Forsyth County, North Carolina, 34-year-old T. Elliot Welch was arrested on second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor charges. Mr. Welch was the minister of First Baptist Church in Stanleyville, North Carolina. At the time of his arrest, he was a married father of 4 who has worked his whole adult life as a street pastor at random churches along the East Coast, and he's done mission work in Ghana, Africa. This man had a video of a nude girl in the 10 to 12-year age range being raped by an adult man. He told the judge in court that the reason he indulged in his freaky predator desires is because the stress of COVID-19 was too much to deal with.
Okay. What the fuck is wrong with people? This is not the time to use COVID as an excuse. We've used it for everything else. This is not, no.
He was convicted February 23rd of 2022. He will be out on parole September 19th.
Disgusting.
Of this year. Like this year, 90 days
Absolutely
left.
Disgusting.
His sentence was 1 year and 7 months. The max sentence for this specific crime, though, in North Carolina is only 6 years and 11 months. That's crazy to me. Speaking of Forsyth County, North Carolina, on June 18th of 2022, 5 members of the Republican Party Men's Club attended Drag Queen Story Hour. This is just what I want to say about this. Left wing, right wing, same bird. When it comes to these sick fucks anyway, This is the problem with extremist groups. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are, what race you are, what gender you're attracted to, or anything. These people are predators. Preying on children is wrong.
Correct.
Period. There's no finger pointing, there's no group labels, titles. These men all need to be burned at the
Yeah.
stake. There are pastors and church workers across the nation on predator lists that are affiliated with Southern Baptist church conventions. There is a current war on women pastors in the Southern Baptist Church. I wonder why. Because they seem to all be affiliated and they fuck with the drag queen story hour people too. So, like I said, this is about the kids, not your religion and not your sexual orientation, because those people don't give a fuck about that, so you shouldn't either. There's no way to protect a group, just protect
Right.
children. Child sex predators exist amongst any demographic group. That is the cancer of humanity. Religious or not, gay or not, broke or not, American or not. Stop pointing the finger at groups to help you identify these freaks. Condemn them no matter where they are, who they are, what they claim. Care about the well being of children because that's the right thing to do. Cry out to legislators and demand justice and accountability for all of these people. No group should be immune to severe punishment for preying on
I
children.
agree.
The point of the matter is that preying on children is wrong, and you child predators that use the trans movement, religious groups, gay community, houses of worship to commit your sick acts on children are all gonna burn.
I command you in the mighty name of Jesus, by the power of his shed blood and the power of the word of God, you are a defeated foe. Get your hands off my children. I am the property of the living God. Jesus Christ has purchased me at the cross. The victory is mine over you in the authority of Jesus' name. Get lost!
Amen.
Bro, I mean, me and you have
Yeah.
never been the type to live our life with blinders on anyways. We've each gone through things in our life that are very unfair that we never should have had to go through. We know the evils of the world. It's so heartbreaking. You know, props to the people that can wake up every day with a smile on their face and have lives free of trauma, but that's not realistic, and you need to open your eyes. You need to, even if you don't have kids, that doesn't mean you can't look out for kids. I sit on my front porch reading every single day, and we live in a very quiet neighborhood by a school. There's always kids in the middle of the road, you know, playing, riding their bikes, whatever. I'm always watching shit though. People fly down my road, and like I said, I live right by a school. People fly down my road going 60 miles an hour sometimes. There are kids that ride their bikes in the middle of the street. It does not bother me to stand up and start screaming at people driving that fast or anything, because it takes a village. It really does. You don't have to know the other kids in your neighborhood to watch out for them. If you notice a creepy person in the neighborhood, pay attention. Keep your eyes open. Let other parents know that you notice somebody lurking around. We have a Ring camera, and the great thing about Ring cameras is on there is called like the neighborhood. So anyone within a certain radius of your house that also has a Ring camera, they are able to comment on there, let people know what's going on, let people know if anything suspicious has been happening, if there's been any break-ins, anything like that. So you're getting those alerts. You're able to know what's going on in your neighborhood even when you're not home. And I really, really love that. Just always keep your eyes open. Kids will one day be adults, and they are going to carry the traumas that happened in their childhood with them. It's going to shape them for the rest of their life. You can put your kid in counseling, you can put your kid in therapy, you can do whatever, but that doesn't erase what happened to them. It might help them process it, but that's always going to be there in their mind. Like,
Yeah. Having talks with your
it's
kids
so
too about
important.
like,
It's so important to talk to your kids, even though some of those topics are very difficult to talk about and it could be very awkward. You still got to do it.
some people don't understand like how grooming works because they never went through it also, but so I mean it could be a difficult conversation to have with your kids, but I just want to say this: every child that gets molested doesn't grow up to be a child
Correct.
molester. I know that to be true. You might not know how to have that conversation, you know what I'm saying, but there's so much research online or a Reddit forum on how to have those conversations, you have the internet, you really don't have an excuse to not know how to deal with it, because you have testimonies on testimonies on testimonies from people all over the country and the world at your hands at all times.
Regardless,
So,
if you don't
um,
know how to handle it, you don't get to just not handle it. You made the decision to be a parent. It's your job to handle things like that.
yeah, you have to know that these people are
Mm-hmm.
out here in the schools, in the sports programs, in the churches, in the parades that you're
Yeah,
taking
I
your
mean,
kids
people,
to.
you gotta quit being so trusting. You think just because, well, it's our
Yeah,
pastor, I've known him for years. I don't give a shit. Don't leave your child with them
yeah,
unattended. That just because you, I don't care. Just because you've gone to church every Sunday for the last 10 years thinks you know someone? No, no, it doesn't. These people are
yeah. So
everywhere
here,
in our community. That is the point. They have enmeshed themselves everywhere to seem like the good people. Look at the girls' Olympics gymnastics coach. Come on.
yep,
These
yep,
people
yep,
are everywhere. You cannot assume that because of the title they hold in their job that they're innocent. It's the exact
no,
opposite. They can't walk around looking creepy and announcing themselves as child molesters. That's not going to get them anywhere. They have to wear that mask. They have to be in our society working with our kids so they can get close to our kids. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's so easy to hop online and see where predators are living in relation to you. Like I said, I live by a school. So technically, there shouldn't be any living by me. But we also know a lot of these people don't always register like they are supposed to. They could be living with family
yeah.
members. They just, man, just keep your damn eyes open. Just don't be so naive.
Yeah, I feel like out of all these people that are affiliated with the church, the same way people just called me a bigot for pointing out trans terrorism, they call me a bigot because they're telling me that I'm associating the whole like gay, lesbian, trans, bi community with these predators. And no, like there's right now drag queens, a whole bunch of gay men. I'm not like looking for confirmation bias because I said what the fuck I said and that's how I
Exactly.
feel, because kids matter more than your sexual orientation and religion. But there's a lot of these people condemning all this extra shit going on with the trans community right now too. It's not just straight women, blah blah blah. That's crazy for you to say that and then turn around and say that like the churches are responsible or anybody religious is a weirdo because you either saw a news headline and they took down some child predator sting operation, or because you went through your own childhood trauma with members of the church. That doesn't mean that all churches are that way or all religions are full of child molesters. Every person, male or female, gay or straight, have the potential to be a
Mm-hmm.
child predator. That's the whole thing. Here's the problem: black and white thinking. You're extreme thinking. You're trying to find something that they're attached to, or how they look, or the things that they say, so your brain can take that in and be like, this is a generalization, so anytime I'm around this type of person, I'm gonna have that like radar
Right.
up, you know what I mean? But that's the thing with these people. They're chameleons, they're
Right.
everywhere, there's no way to
Like the
detect
saying
them
goes, you can't
most
judge a
of the
book by
time.
its cover.
The only thing you can do is protect your children and monitor who
Yeah,
they're around and
regardless of how
stuff.
that person looks. I understand. You could see we're all very bad about judging people as we see them walking while we're driving or, anything. Someone lives their life differently than we do, so we're judging them. Those might be the nicest people you'll ever meet in your whole life. I know that we do have probably more than one here in Illinois, but I do know that there is one not far from where I live. But there are biker gangs that are set up literally to protect children. You can call on them if your kids are being bullied, if your kids have been molested, if your kids have an upcoming like court date they have to go to and speak against someone that hurt them. Those bikers will show up to support those kids. And let me tell you, man, nobody is going to touch your kids if there's a biker gang around them. So, if you have that in your community or
Yeah,
close to your community and your kid is going through something terrible, call them. They will be
yeah,
more than happy to come protect your children. That is what those people do. And I'll tell you right now, I'll trust a biker gang to do the job before I trust a police officer to do the goddamn job. That does not mean I do not respect police at all. I wholeheartedly do back the blue. I do respect everything that they do, and I am very grateful for the police and their help. And I know that they can't fix all issues, but things do need to change.
What's back the blue
I
mean?
support cops. You will never hear me say defund the police. I won't do it.
Oh, yeah, no. I think back the blue as a counter argument to like having feelings toward innocent people being murdered by police officers is kind of weird, but we do need law and order and we should not
And
defund
you
the
can't
police.
judge all
You know what
police
I
by
mean?
a few bad apples. You can't do that.
Any group of
When it
people.
comes to the police, you got to understand, man, their hands are tied. They can only do what they can do by the law. They can't arrest someone just because you feel they need to be arrested.
Oh my gosh, like in did you ever watch that Jared Fogle
No, I haven't
documentary?
yet.
Oh my gosh, it's going to piss you off though because she was literally giving all these tapes of recorded calls. He's admitting to the shit he was doing with kids in Thailand and stuff and they couldn't do anything because it wasn't
Yeah.
here and he wasn't doing anything but giving like a verbal confession, which we would think like, "Oh, lock his ass up, he's a monster." But they can't do anything because they can't prove it. It was an ongoing investigation because he could take it to trial and then be like, "I was lying. I was just talking shit."
Yeah.
That's crazy. People have to understand like
There
what
are
they
so
need for
many people
evidence
above
and
the police. Like, yeah. But anyways, I went off on a tangent. I don't even know where I was going with that. But regardless, all I'm saying is it's your job to protect your kids.
well, to build off this law and order, we need structure, discipline, all the other jazz. Here's the whole thing. This is like a generational thing because there's like a revolution that takes place in any generation and I feel like these millennial parents and then Gen Z young adults and teenagers are like the cause for all this like chaos and commotion, not just with the trans movement, but just in general, people think that the answer to all of their problems is protecting their peace, detaching, cutting off toxic people, including family members. And I've had to do that for my own peace, but now I'm isolated. And when you don't have people and you don't have a structure, functional family dynamic and a support system, like you're just out here alone in the wild. And then if you have kids, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
need people. Detaching and cutting people off isn't always the answer. It's not going to lead you down the path to where you want to be. And I say that because this whole sexual liberation, whatever little freedom, desire, revolution that's going on with this generation, like that's causing a lot of these problems too. It's the exact opposite of what these religious people are doing, and they're abusing the idea of being obedient to a higher power and submitting to these delusions that they have. But they're all predators. You have to understand it doesn't matter freedom or obedience. The answer doesn't lie in either. You just have to have a discernment. I just feel like if for whatever reason you hear people calling out child groomers and child predators and you try to use a group or a title to point the finger at somebody else, you are protecting child abusers and you're just as guilty
Yep.
and you're a piece of shit. And with that being said,
that is not Jesus. That is fallen, sinful man. That is not Jesus. And that is why people pull away from the church, because they associate that with Jesus, and it is not Jesus. And we do not claim that.